You found it. Your home for the best content on your favorite team, the Fighting Tigers of LSU. Do us a favor, subscribe to the channel, leave your comments below, and be sure to smash that like button. What a difference a week makes. No, I'm not going to sit here and gloat and peacock over LSU blowing out a school from the SWAC. I am more so speaking to the general feel around the LSU program coming off a weekend where Alabama lost at home to Texas. Texas A&M lost on the road to Miami. Ole Miss was pretty much out-physicaled at the line of scrimmage by an American Athletic Conference opponent. Mississippi State was a 9-point home favorite over Arizona and needed overtime to win. And Auburn had a total clunker on the road at Cal, but managed to escape with a win as well. My point is, even after last week went the way it did against Florida State, the rest of your schedule just doesn't feel as daunting anymore, does it? Lo and behold, the season is long. Teams are allowed to improve, and I suspect this LSU team will, as they did on Saturday night in the blowout of Grambling. So, a few takeaways. Look, it's one of those games where you do something great, everyone rolls their eyes and says, or folds their arms and says, you're supposed to. That's Grambling. And you're right. You do something badly, everyone throws their hands in the air and says, how could you let that happen? It's Grambling. And they're right. So, LSU putting up 72 points. The first time LSU scored 70 in regulation since a game against Arkansas State in 1991. The most points LSU's put up since they put 77 on Rice back in 1977. So, an landmark offensive day. But yes, it was against a completely outmanned school from the SWAC. But you still scored on your first 10 possessions. And the only time you got stopped was when you ran the ball on a 4th and 5 and you got 4 yards at the end of the ballgame. So you were 10 for 10 on scoring possessions. That was great. We got to see Logan Diggs. We got to see Caleb Jackson. We got to see a lot in this ballgame. And then the flip side of it, obviously, is your defense had some struggles at the beginning that they sorted out. So a few takeaways. I will start offensively. Logan Diggs was great. The day LSU got Logan Diggs, said it on this show, that Logan Diggs, the minute he stepped foot on LSU's campus, was the most talented running back that LSU has, and you saw it. He is a physical runner. He is a guy that's got some wiggle, some make you miss. I know not many people actually pay attention to this, but he actually is really good in pass protection. He can catch passes. He is your most complete back. He is your best, most talented back. And you saw that on Saturday against Grambling. The other player that we got to see really get his first action as a running back was Caleb Jackson. And Caleb Jackson, he really reminds me of LeBrandon Tofield. He is just a really thickly built in the lower half, powerful runner. And to see Caleb Jackson get going was very reminiscent of what we saw in that scrimmage in Tiger Stadium, where he was the star. And Brian Kelly tried to downplay it a bit afterwards, saying, oh, well, maybe that was because the defense wasn't tackling. No, you saw it. There's just a different level of drive and power when Caleb Jackson runs the ball. And you've probably now identified your two most talented backs with Logan Diggs and Caleb Jackson. Josh Williams is obviously going to have a role on this team. Noah Cain got a game ball afterwards, and Brian Kelly and Noah Cain basically said it's because he's willing to do whatever he has to do to help the team win. That's a great team concept from a veteran player there in Noah Cain. We saw, we've seen, obviously you've got John Emery coming back this week as well. Armani Goodwin's still battling a little injury, but the point is you've got tons of depth at running back, and you saw that on display. We got to see Lance Hurd. Hurd went into the ball game. Let's see, LSU scored 3 first-quarter touchdowns. They scored on the second play of the second quarter was the shovel pass to Malik Neighbors that he scored on. But LSU's first drive that started in the second quarter, Lance Hurd went in at right tackle and never left the game. Even when there were wholesale rotations, he stayed in at right tackle. Miles Frazier went in at right guard. By the way, Brian Kelly today, when he met with reporters, was asked about Lance Hurd's sort of debut, and he liked what he saw. Give a listen.
We liked his presence in the lineup. He was assignment correct. He was physical at the point of contact, and we felt like, by and large, for a first time in a collegiate, football game, he handled the emotions of the game very well. So I think we're on track to kind of similarly do what we did in the last game with him in the next game as well. Miles will still start at guard, but there's going to be a rotation there.
So he's telling you he's Lance Hurd is going to play. It's a very similar formula filed last year with Emory Jones. He's right. He physically belongs. If Lance Hurd had gone out against Grambling and really struggled, that's a pretty sure telltale that he ain't ready to go play on the road at Mississippi State. You go out there and you play 3 quarters against Grambling and you hold your own and you play really well and you're physical and there are no missed assignments. That says, okay, let's go give the kid a shot. So let's see what he does this week in Starkville because he'll get some run. Denver Harris started at one cornerback, and much of the result was the same. He did give up a touchdown on the first drive, and then on the second drive had a pass interference called against him. So, forgive me, that was Grambling's third possession where he had the PI. So he gave up the touchdown on the first possession, and the PI was on Grambling's third possession. In any event, Brian Kelly today talked about Denver Harris and kind of what's holding him back. Can you play the short one, please? Here's what Brian Kelly said about Denver Harris.
He's learning our coverages. He's learning, he's a press corner, and we don't just play press. We play press, and we play bail, and we play off, and then we play press to off. And so there's a lot of different things that he's learning. He was just strictly a press corner, and he just pressed you, and when you came off the bus, he pressed you. And this is new to him, but he's learning, and he wants to get better at it every day. So, listen, I'm a coach. I want a captive audience. I want guys that want to be coached. And the great part about it is he wants to be coached.
That's great. So we'll see what type of progress he might be able to make. But for literally as long as we've talked about Denver Harris here and him running with the threes, the thing I've told you consistently is what I've been told is that he's a great athlete. He has basically just played man his whole life, and he's got to learn how to play within a defensive concept. And Brian Kelly said that today. So see how that continues to progress as the year goes along. Harold Perkins moved back to the outside of that pass breakup on the first play of the game. He'll continue to come into his own there, I have no doubt. And then, of course, the other thing that everyone's talking about were the defensive struggles. You allowed 173 yards in the first quarter. 173 yards in the first quarter. But you essentially allowed about 150 the rest of the game. And that was while you were rotating in backups. Listen, to watch on a 3rd and 15, Grambling run 35 yards on a draw, 3rd and 10, a 27-yard run. Brian Kelly said today, look, there were a couple of runs where they got caught in dime coverage. So, look, it was 3rd and long. LSU was playing coverage. Grambling decided to run the ball, and they broke off long runs. Stinks happened. You're glad it happened in this game, and it's a teachable moment for when you move forward. But for the most part, we're sitting here 1 week after LSU lost to Florida State, where there was this collective melt a week ago, where people were wondering, should they fire Brian Kelly? Is Mike Denbrock really the guy? Is Brian Kelly capable of winning a championship here? Should they bench Jaden Daniels? I mean, all the melt a week ago. And think about it right now. Think about this very logically right now. Is there any game left on LSU's schedule that they can't win? LSU's a 10-point road favorite in Starkville Saturday. Arkansas, Ole Miss, Missouri, Auburn, Army, Bama, Florida, Georgia State, A&M. Is there any game on LSU's schedule remaining they can't win? You know the answer. It's unequivocally no. They are capable of winning every game remaining on their schedule. That's why I was bullish on this team from the beginning. Few questions, manageable schedule. Yes, last week sucked. The loss to Florida State was awful. But they were better than Florida State for a half. There's plenty of room to get better, and you have a schedule against which you can do that. So keep building good weeks. Got an opportunity to go on the road in conference play this week in Starkville. See if the Tigers can put together a good week of practice. Go get a win on the road to start SEC playoff on a good foot. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.